Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great evening. There's some breaking news out of California. The FBI and Los Angeles police joined other law enforcement agencies in a pre dawn gang sweep Thursday, arresting 28 members of the Eastside Playboys gang as a part of the racketeering narcotics and firearms cases, named about 40 of its gang leading members. Heavily armed FBI agents and police officers fanned out across LA into various surroundings, communities, arresting those named in the federal court documents as part of being a part of the scheme that sold narcotics, assaulted people, and sometimes it even led to murder. The arrests are a culmination of deep probe into gang activities involving wiretaps, extensive surveillance for years, dubbed Operation Rabbit Hole by the FBI multi-agency Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs. Those charged and arrested today are the latest generation of key players in the South Los Angeles-based Eastside Playboy street gang that for 5 decades has sold narcotics and guns in LA streets and has deep ties to the Mexican mafia and other cartels. The indictment set out on the Eastside Playboys used the U.S. Postal Office, United Parcel Service, and FedEx to distribute kilos of cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl, and were partly responsible for the deadly fentanyl-laced pills that flooded the drug markets of Southern California. This case is a culmination of years of work by the agents and prosecutors alongside local law enforcement and partners to remove the violent gang members from the streets and dismantle the criminal organization that fueled violent crime. The Justice Department had no tolerance for violent gangs, and fear and terror in the communities will not be tolerated. Investigators gathered evidence in extortion of businesses, violent robberies, burglaries, narcotics, and firearms trafficking as violence against their own members as discipline, also for rats, for violating gang rules are the norm, according to a series of indictments. The 6 federal grand jury indictments set out extensive businesses of the gang, include one of which alleged trafficker scheme and include allegations of narcotics and weapons trafficking, as well as extortion of local businesses. One of the indictments in the gangs is criminal enterprise along the Racketeer Influence and Corruption, RICO Act, the long-standing measure used by federal prosecutors to target the most organized criminal operations. FBI spokeswoman said 28 arrested were among 41 members and associates of the gang named across the 6 indictments. 3 of the defendants were already in custody, and the authorities continue this morning to search for the other 10 that still remain fugitive. The 44-count RICO indictment identifies, I'm not going to say their name because it's allegedly, a South Los Angeles' overall shot caller for the gang. Is accused of overseeing the Playboy's drug trafficking activities, giving orders to its leadership and membership, and authorizing the assault and murder of members in bad standing with the Playboys for snitching, according to the indictment. The task force seized from the Playboys 199 kilos of methamphetamine, 13.6 kilos of fentanyl, 27 kilos of cocaine, 8 kilos of heroin, 283 kilos of marijuana, and 140K in cash. The 110-page RICO indictment alleged that members operated 2 unlicensed marijuana dispensaries using the gang's drug supplies. And we've talked about that before, how they would buy all the dispensaries, and all it did, when they did make it legal, all it did was make organized crime legal. Let's see. One of the participants told them that they tied up a dealer, stole 50K in cash, about 10 pounds of marijuana. The home invasion didn't go as planned, and the victim during the gun battle was robbed and shot in the stomach. Other conversations captured by federal agents include one where defendant described participating in attempted murder. Members and associates of the gang have built a criminal enterprise by trafficking in guns and deadly drugs, by extorting business owners and terrorizing victims with violent assaults and robberies. Another indictment unsealed today named 17 defendants, of whom were charged with participating in narcotics trafficking conspiracy. One of those, I'm not going to say their name, allegedly, were moving fentanyl, methamphetamine, also processing. He and another co-conspirator drove to a UPS store in the city where the co-conspirator dropped off a package of about 10 kilos of fentanyl packaged in 1 kilogram bundles and covered in mustard. Organized street gangs prey on our communities and violence and intimidation and fear, said LAPD Chief Moore. You know, they're basically, this is breaking news coming out of California. Eastside Playboys, that's been around for a long time, over 50 years, that work with numerous prison gangs, including the Mexican Mafia, has ties to the cartel in Mexico. I wanted to cover this. Everyone, have a good night. And Playboys, keep your ears up.